Singer, songwriter, author, all things grand. Strahan Coleman, and he's a friend of the show as well. He's just released the book. It's actually out today. We've been talking about this, actually. We spoke to Strahan, I think it was about a month back, and we were anticipating the release of the book, and it's out today. Lucky you. It's called Thirsting. Good morning, Strahan.
Ata Maria, my friends. How are ya?
Well, we're better now, man. How are you? More to the point, bro. You finally, it's arrived. Thirsting is out today.
It's here, man. It's a really weird feeling releasing a book. You know, I'm used to albums where you kind of release an album, someone just clicks a link, and then they hear it straight away, and then oh man, great song or great record or whatever. With books, it's like someone goes on and they order it, and then it's delivered, and then they start it. Maybe that sits on the coffee table for 3 or 4 weeks, and then maybe it takes them a month to read it. And so it's a strange feeling releasing a book because you actually just don't get that instant reaction or feedback from people. But for me, it feels amazing. It's sort of been like 18 months of work and love and prayer and labor. So I feel great.
Well done, bro.
What was the feeling like when you first got a actual, because obviously you wrote it, so you're very familiar with it, but when you actually hold the book in your hands and the first like delivery of it arrives and you're like, oh, wow, here it is.
Yeah, you feel like a grown-up, hey? It's a weird feeling because you're basically working on Google Docs the whole time, and it just doesn't feel real. It feels like a big blog or something, and you put so much work into it. But when you actually get the physical book in your hands, it just carries a whole different weight, and it feels real, and it's a very surreal feeling, man. I definitely never imagined to be writing like this, at least at this stage in my life, and so. It feels great, but very surreal. Yeah, it feels,
we couldn't be happier.
Beautiful.
We couldn't be happier for you, Strahan. We've been tracking your journey. Obviously,
thanks.
we've been chatting to you for a couple of times over the last 6 months. But for those who are just tuning in right now, who are familiar with your work as a singer, songwriter, and author, let's take it back to what Thirsting is all about.
Thirsting is a book about desire and the human longing. And I think, we get the gospel around the wrong way a lot of the time. We think that it's about humanity seeking God, and we think that prayer is where we go to reach out and to find God and to ache for him and to kind of pull him in. But St. Augustine famously said that God thirsts that we would thirst for him. And he saw in God a desire, a longing more powerful than ours. And writer Martin Lloyd-Jones said that the gospel is not the story of man's search for God, but of God's search for man. And so Thirsting is a book about God's pursuit of us. And it's also a book about how we actually drink God, what it means to, we say that all the time, oh, God, you're all I want and you satisfy me. And what does that actually mean? So it's a book about desire. It's a book about drinking. It's a book about the love of God.
It's a book about drinking. We'll put that on the on the poster.
Yeah, I just saw that one out.
That theme though around thirst and water, obviously right throughout the Bible, it's a big picture, right? And I think it's because every person on the planet knows what that is like, to thirst, to be thirsty. And if you've been thirsty at any kind of actual proper extent where it's like, I need some water source, so you've had to go without, which we don't really have that problem so much where we live. But my son, Jay, at the moment is fascinated by how long you can live without air, how long you can live without water, and how long you can live without food. Like, he always wants to go over it. He's like, so only a couple of days without water. And I'm like, that's right. You've got to find some. You've got to have it.
That's awesome.
Is that what sort of sprung out to you about that, that picture of thirst, that picture of water throughout the Bible, of like water in the dry desert, the deer panting for water? Is that a lot of the imagery sort of come around from there?
Yeah, it is. I mean, that psalm is one of my favorites. As a deer pants for streams of water, so my soul thirsts for you. And it was kind of discovering that word soul in the psalm is the word nephesh, which means throat. And when I kind of looked up what the soul was in the Hebrew mindset, there was body, mind, relationships, emotions, not some kind of ethereal spirit. And it made me think about what thirst really is. But I think too, like this last couple of years, moving to Tairua, in COVID times, it was quiet and I was just like crazy bored and I got really sick again and I was just longing to do something. And I sort of had this realization that, like water, right? You can live off Coke or alcohol or whatever for a very, very small amount of time. It's not the same as drinking water. Like when you're thirsty, you often want to reach for a satisfying Coke or whatever. But what your body needs is water. And I think often with our desires, with our longings in life, we actually deeply thirst for God. Every human does. But we kind of in our minds attribute that thirst to a relationship or to money or financial security or a career or whatever. So I wanted to write a book that helped people to see that these kind of surface satisfactions that we try and feed our thirst with can never actually reach the bottom of us. What we want is real water, and that real water is an experience of the love of God. So yes, it did come on a meditation of water, and I think too, just this sense of like, I think we're all out there spiritually drinking every fizzy drink in the world and wondering why we're not hydrated. And I wanted to kind of explore what it actually looks like to hydrate ourselves in God and prayer. So
Absolutely, man. People need to buy your book to get to the theming and to get to know what it needs, what people need for themselves. But was there a particular chapter or maybe a section of the book that really resonated with you deeply and you thought, man, I need people to see this. I need people to read this for any particular reason? Can you talk to a particular chapter?
Yeah, the book actually started with Jesus' statement in Revelation 3:20, where he says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock, and whoever answers, I will come in with them. I come in and I will dine with them." And the whole book was kind of premised on the fact that I think a lot of people feel like we're knocking on God's door, that we're kind of pounding down, being like, God, I just want to know you. Where are you? Can I experience you? Can you hear me? And here in Revelation 3:20, at the end of the story of Scripture, I find the complete opposite, that Jesus is actually knocking on the door of our hearts saying, will you let me in? Not so that he can judge or criticize or what, but just so he can eat with us. And so there's a chapter in the book where I explore that and what it means to actually sort of open up the different rooms in our life that are built by anxieties or fears or bad theology or trauma or bad experiences of church or failed or unanswered prayers or whatever. How do we unlock those doors? And for me, that was really the heart of the book that led me on this journey of thirsting and the love and the pursuit of God of each and every one of us.
Interesting what you said earlier about how, reviews and responses to an album come in pretty quickly because the song's only 3 or 4 minutes, but a book often sits on people's bedside for months before they might chew through it, or at least a week or so if they're right into it. Have you had any early responses to people that have been able to read the book before its release kind of thing?
Yeah, well, actually, as part of the book launch, I invited a bunch of people to pre-order the book and do for the last 10 weeks, I've been doing a week-by-week teaching through the chapter, leading prayers based on that chapter, and then kind of reflecting on it with a few hundred people. And the feedback has been the best thing for me, man. I've loved it. Like, people opening up about their stories and the way in which the ideas have really reshaped their understanding of God, and they've had deep new experiences and encounters with God's love, like genuinely in their places of longing and ache and in their prayer lives. And seriously, man, it's actually it's blown me away, and it's been a deep sense of joy, a place of joy for me. So yeah, that I think I'll be holding on to that for ages. And if everybody can experience that reading the book, I will be over the moon. It'd be awesome.
Sure, bro. I guess the next thing for you is a speaking circuit. Are you just taking the book around town? What are you doing? Are you signing stuff? Where are you going to be?
Yeah. So I'm heading to Australia on Friday. Just worked out timing wise. I'm doing some prayer schools there and teaching the book and some conference stuff. And then when I come back, because my books are all being stuck in a port in America, being torn apart by customs for like the last four weeks. So I got no books in New Zealand. So when I come back in November, I'm going to do some book nights here in Aotearoa and launch the book and hang out and have fun with people. But I'm just waiting to hear back on the ETA for those first.
Oh, so we can't even get your book right now?
Well, not yet. Not for a couple more weeks. I know. It's a weird thing, eh? I'm an author. I can't even get a hold of my own books. They were meant to arrive a week ago, but America has this thing where they can just pull any container they want off a boat and search it for as long as they want. And they did that about 3 weeks ago, and they've just held it for like 3.5 weeks. So it's totally out of my control. They'll be here soon.
Maybe you'll get some testimonies from customs officials who have been reading through your book.
Maybe they were just really thirsty, eh?
Yeah, well,
just like, oh, look at this.
Are you gonna, Strahan? You've got a cool voice. Like, I mean, obviously you do the musician stuff as well, but it's getting raspier and more gravelly as you age too. So it's fantastic. Are you gonna do like an audiobook version of this, or is that already done? Or
Yep. So I did a full audio book version of it, and I actually did commentary for every chapter too. So
nice.
I narrate the chapters, and then after each chapter, I do kind of like 5 minutes of riffing, just kind of what was behind the chapter and what I was thinking and what I left out. So I think you can find that on Amazon, or definitely on Audible, or definitely somewhere. Have a look. See where you can find it. I don't know much about audiobooks.
Hey, look, the thing is with Google, you can find anything you want. So that's cool. Where should people go if they're like, oh, this sounds cool. I like Strahan. I like his ideas and his vibe. Want to read his book, or maybe gift it to someone even for Christmas, because that's coming up soon. Where should people go? Where's the best place to head?
The best place to head to order from New Zealand is my website, Common is Communion, where I'm signing every book that's being ordered until the books arrive, just as a little thank you. But also Mana Bookstores, Christian Bookstores, has the book, and if otherwise, just from anywhere if you want to buy it, wherever good books are sold.
I agree with Bjorn. Google is a great outlet for you to just type in somebody's name and you'll be able to find it. But one more time, what's their website, Strahan?
It's Common is Communion. Common is Communion. And Strahan, the impossible name to spell, is Strahan. So if you're going to Google it, let's Google the right person, because there's a lot of weird Strahans out there.
Well, is that why,
including myself,
in the press release they keep referring to you as Coleman? Is that going to be a new?
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Yeah,
really?
This is a new thing for me, having a PR company. So the publishers sort all that out. It sounds very official. Coleman. It's a complete spin around from when my music career I was only Strahan. So maybe it's like the next 10 years of course correction for my name.
Hey, keep doing your thing, Strahan. You're blessing a whole lot of people and inspiring them at the same time,
bro.
Including us. And maybe if we become authors, we'd have a cool setup like the one you have right now talking to us.
Yeah.
That's impressive, bro. You're looking pretty slick.
Thanks.
Here.
Thanks, man. Feel pretty slick.
Strahan Coleman, if you want to know about the book, it's called Thirsting. We'll put up all the deets on our website as well.